Hey guys, now if you were eating peanut butter today, would you be surprised to find out that it is one of the recalls? Are you eating a recalled peanut butter? And we're going to find out more about it and even something about the Ritz Crackers on our Freaky Friday today. So hang tight. This is Miss Jackie Russell. I want to welcome you to my channel. My name is Vicky and I go by Miss Jackie Russell because that's my nickname. And it's kind of a long story. Maybe I'll tell you a little bit about the story, how I got that nickname and why it's all across my media as my channel name. But anyways, as for today, we are going to talk about some serious recalls. Now, how many of you feed peanut butter to your family? Do you feed it to your children? Do you eat it yourself, like peanut butter and banana sandwiches? What about peanut butter and jelly? Or peanut butter and crackers? I mean, we have it so many different ways. There is a recall, and you need to know all about it, and that's what we're going to talk today about. Freaky Friday is the recall. Now, I do want to ask you, if you enjoy this type of video and information, to please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button and share out if you want. But leave me a comment too and let me know where you're from. And we'll move on to these recalls. Now, the first one I did want to talk to you about was the peanut butter. And this is an FDA announces this recall of peanut butter in 40 states because guess what? It may contain plastic. That's right, they have plastic in it. So that is a safety risk, and the FDA is recalling it. They're calling it a Class 2 level, and the recall is underway, sold in 40 states. And they recalled this product last April after discovering pieces of blue plastic in the production filter. And on February 12th, the FDA gave another recall, the second highest level risk. So it's very hazardous if you consume it, it says. And the peanut butter recall is the creamy peanut butter in the 0.05 ounce to 0.075 ounce to 1.12 ounce packages. And also the creamy peanut butter with jelly, and it is in the 2.12 ounce packages, and creamy peanut butter with strawberry jam in the 2.12 packages. So you can see that this is really across the board because I mean, we eat peanut butter in our household. It says the products were sold under several different brands, including Gordon Food Service, U.S. Foods, Cisco House Recipe, and a full list of brands. And I will probably have to put that link down in my description because it's going to be a lot of brands, and you'll have to go and see if your peanut butter, especially if you bought it with the strawberry jam or the grape jelly in it. Those two, I don't know, Smucker's does that, but I'm not saying they're in the recall. I don't know who packages their food, if it's Gordon or U.S. or if it's even one of them. But I do know there's packages that are made like that, and it's all creamy peanut butter, so if you got crunchy, you're probably not in any kind of risk. But the recall in the states is Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Mississippi, and Montana, North Carolina, North Dakota, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, Washington, and Wisconsin. So you can see it's quite spread out there. And the FDA did not provide specific instructions for this Class 2 recall. The safest option, they said, is not to consume any of these products. So like again, I will put a link to that list down in my description, because even if I was to run it across there, I don't think you could catch it all, and there's a lot of different lot numbers. So if you have bought creamy peanut butter, and you might could just look to see if on the back of your package if they're made by any of those brand leaders that I told you about in the beginning. And, with the Gordon Food Service, U.S. Foods, and Cisco House Recipe. And that will at least give you a little hint if you need to move forward on that. And then the next recall is not the same, but it does involve Ritz Crackers and, ironically, peanut butter concerns for the allergen in 8 states. And it's a certain number of Ritz Cracker peanut butter cracker sandwiches were recalled in 8 states. The sandwiches may be incorrectly labeled as cheese variety, resulting in an undeclared peanut allergen. That's very serious if you're allergic to peanuts. If you have a strong allergy to peanuts, they're saying throw out the sandwiches. Identifying the recalled cracker sandwiches, it's made by Mondelez Global LLC and identified as following: Ritz peanut butter cracker sandwiches, 20 count. So there's those little crackers, they're already made, and you open up those little packages, and there might be 3 or 4 in a package, but you can get 20 packages inside of a box. Anyways, it's a size 27.6 ounce with 6-pack cartons. So I guess that kind of answers what I just said. And it's UPC 4400007584 and I will run this across there. They said the best dates is to use by January 8th, 2026 and January 15th, 2026. So, you probably, I don't even know why this is out there at this point because it's February, but maybe they didn't find it until now, and you might could have this. There was 70 cases that are affected, and the recall is in 8 states, which are, including Walmart, it says, in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Alabama. So they're the individually wrapped 6-packs in these boxes. So if that's something that you have bought recently or even last year, because that date is expired right now, but I don't know if everybody tosses out things just because of the date. So, for sure check into that and see if it's something that you have in your pantry. And again, I'll run that across there for you. And yeah, it's kind of scary that is even an issue, right? I'm telling you, it's getting really, I don't know. The good news is they're telling us, and yes, there's human error and there's error in production. So, at least we're being told what's going on. So I am thankful for that. But it's very freaky, that's right. And I'm going to go on with my story of how I got the name Miss Jackie Russell. This happened a long time ago. I used to be a Rotarian. I was a Rotarian for over 17 years. I served as their president for a year or so, and I really enjoyed being a Rotarian. But during that time of being a Rotarian, of course, I met a lot of different diverse individuals, and one of them was a lawyer named John Frazier. Now, John has since then passed on, because this name was given to me, oh my goodness, I want to say in the early 2000s, I think. I don't really remember exactly. I do know I was a member of the Rotary Club, and every time I walked through the door, John would say, "Hey, looky, there's Miss Jackie Russell." And he referred to me like that all the time. And when people would ask him, "Why do you call Vicky Miss Jackie Russell?" And he said, "Because she breeds one of my favorite breeds, Jack Russells." And that's what I did for a long time. I was a breeder of Parson Jack Russells and short-leg Jack Russells. I want to say from 2000, well, my first litter was January 7th, 2007. So that's how long. So that means I had that name somewhere between 2007 and 2008 or 9 is when he probably gave that to me, because of course he didn't know I was breeding Jacks just right away. But anyway, so that would give us a timeline of how long I've had that name. And my very first Jack Russell litter, I had my first girl that I kept, Splenda, for 17 years and 10 days. She passed last year on January 17th, and she was born on January 7th, 2007. And she was a cutie and an all white Jack Russell. If I can find pictures of her, I'll run her across there. But she was also my longest living Jack Russell that I have. Now, I've got a couple that are in the running for that as we speak, but most of them pass around 15 years old, sometimes 13. So the average age is 13 to 15 years for a Jack Russell. And she made it all the way to my retiring year. I thought that was really interesting. She was my first litter of Jack Russells, and I kept one out of that litter, which was her. And she was with me all the way till I started announcing my retirement. And I did that early so I could give people a chance to get a Jack Russell or a Parson Russell if they were interested, because, well, if I wasn't going to produce them anymore, they were going to need to find someone. And I don't have any more Jack Russells. I have 2 males. I have the father, Courage, and his name is Spudge Courage. And then I have his son, Charlie Regis. And Charlie Regis is a stud dog. I recently had a person contact me because I have one of the few longest running Fox Warren bloodlines in the United States. Now, they're out of England, but my Fox Warren bloodlines are very hard to find, and I still have Charlie, and he was still able, and so he has sired, we're hoping, a litter. But of course they brought the female here, and they're going to have the puppies. I'm not having puppies. I have officially retired, but I love the Jack Russells, and John Frazier loved the Jack Russells, and he called me Miss Jackie Russell, I'm going to say till the day he died. Literally, every time I walked through the door, that's who I was to him. And when my Instagram and my YouTube channel came up, you know, when you first sign up, it'll ask you a handle, and I didn't understand that. And I didn't think I wanted my name out there because I'm 65 now. I don't know exactly how old I was then. Maybe I was 47 or something, 48. But I didn't want too much of my information personally out there. So I went with Miss Jackie Russell, and I signed up under Instagram as Miss_Jackie_Russell because it was the only one available to me, because Miss Jackie Russell, I think, was already taken, the full, no spaces. And then I got on YouTube because Laura and the kids had lived in California at that time, and she said, if you get a YouTube channel, then I can, you can see videos of the kids and everything. And I thought, oh, that's wonderful. So I signed up then under YouTube, Miss Jackie Russell. So when you see that I've been signed up for, I don't know, over 10 or 15 years, it's only because that's what I only watched videos and just shared a few videos on my YouTube channel. And I didn't start my channel until 2021. That's when I started an official channel of putting up videos. And so I went with Miss Jackie Russell, and because I had already been Miss Jackie Russell for so long, because other people called me Miss Jackie Russell too, because even on my Texas Puppy Pal website that I have, which I don't have anymore, I own the name, but because I'm retired I don't have it anymore, but I referred to Miss Jackie Russell on there as well. And I have a website, MissJackieRussell.com. So everything was coordinated around Miss Jackie Russell, and that's how I got my name and my nickname, and then how it's integrated into Miss Jackie. And I do prefer going by Miss Jackie on YouTube, and my other media, but I am called both. So, I mean, like, I'm not offended either way. So, don't worry. For confusion's sake, I think when I first started, I talked about my name being Vicky, but I just said this is Miss Jackie Russell because I am Miss Jackie Russell. And I'm also Vicky, because that's my given name. So that's how come you'll hear or see in the comments, people might be saying hi to Vicky, others might be saying hi to Miss Jackie. It doesn't matter. I'm happy either way. And, when I was asked in the very beginning, I did refer to, yes, I'd prefer being called Miss Jackie. And I'd say, in the sense of my media, that's what I do prefer. And like I said, I'm used to it. I even had a family come to pick up a Jack Russell from me. I kid you not. This is a little freaky. And they kind of live close around here, which is unusual because most of all my buyers was throughout the United States and into Canada, Mexico, and the islands like Virgin Islands and stuff. I have one that's in Germany, but I didn't ship to Germany. They moved to Germany with my Jack Russell, or with their Jack Russell. But most all of mine were purchased and adopted to families throughout the United States, and including Alaska too. I had some that went to Alaska. I didn't have any go to Hawaii unless they took them after they purchased here. Hawaii has very strict shipping rules. You have to have a dog or a puppy quarantined for 4 months when it arrives in Hawaii. They want to make sure for certain that its rabies teeters and everything are clear because they don't have rabies in the state of Hawaii. So any country or state that had that situation, then it's a lot longer for a puppy, and I would not put them through it. I would tell them, if they want to purchase it here and go there and go through that process, that's their business, but I'm not going to ship under those conditions. I just couldn't see sending a little puppy over there being unattached to them for 4 months. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I kind of went off the subject there a little bit. But anyway, I've got Jack Russells everywhere. Well, this family came, I want to say 30, 40 miles from me. And they got a puppy from me, and they were talking to me, and they kept looking at me really funny. And, they knew my name was Vicky, because that's, when I am in business with a business contract, of course I'm going to be signing my name Vicky. So, anyways, they were sitting there looking at me. And finally, the husband said, I'm going to ask you a weird question. I said, sure, go ahead. He goes, are you Miss Jackie Russell? And I just died out laughing. I said, yes, I am. And they go, we watch you all the time. And I was like, oh, how cool is that? And, I thanked them and what have you. And it was really cool to meet someone at my house that I didn't ever know, only through purchasing a Jack Russell. And they recognized me and asked me who I was, if I was that person. Now, I will have to say I've got several of my classmates from when I grew up here in Wills Point and graduated. A few of them have seen my channel and they're like, wow, you're really so professional. And I almost have to laugh about that because, guys, I'm telling you, I get nervous every time I'm doing a video. Not as bad as when I first started. If you go back to one of my first few videos, you might could tell how nervous. Maybe not. I mean, I was an account executive. I've been a business owner in different mini businesses over the years, small businesses. And then, of course, an executive in the Corpus Christi area. So I've had a wide variety of, speaking in front of people and or talking with people of all different, I don't know, business backgrounds. So, I mean, it's real easy for me to, I guess, talk, especially in the business world. And of course, when I started the Jack Russell breeding, it wasn't something I planned. I was in advertising with my own advertising magazine in the Dallas, Wills Point, Forney area before I started breeding. When I got Jack Russells, I got them only for my own pets. You know what I mean? I got 3 or 4. I ended up getting 4. two boys and two girls. The first one was Rhodey, which he never was bred. And then I got Regis, which that's Regis. You'll see Regis in almost all my names that come through that line. Charlie Regis, Sophie Regis, Lola Regis. Any dog that I kept that was from his line has the Regis name in it, because I lost him after I just had him at a year old, maybe 15 months. He littered 2 litters, and he littered Sugar's first litter, and Sophie was out of that, and I kept Sophie, and she was an all white just like Splenda. And anyway, Splenda was his sire too, but with Sophie, Sugar's litter was the very last litter that Regis sired before he passed. He was poisoned accidentally by, I guess, neighbors up ahead of, up above us, where the land, we had bad flooding and the water was coming down, and they got a hold of a couple of mice, and I didn't know it, and they apparently were, killing their mice with poison. What's that? Decon poisoning. Anyway, he died suddenly, much to my surprise. So I named her Sophie Regis, and then like I said, one that I kept, their middle name was Regis, to keep the line going, because he was a looker, I'll tell you that, and just such a great parson, Jack Russell. But anyway, that's how I got that nickname. That's why my channel and all across my media, except for my Facebook has got my personal name on there, but everything else, wherever you go, you're going to see Miss Jackie Russell. So just keep that in mind, I suppose, if you're checking out everything. But I guess that's it. This video is getting long, and my purpose was just kind of share that, because maybe some of y'all might find it freaky that my channel's Miss Jackie Russell and I call myself Miss Jackie, and you may not understand why I'm doing that. And this way it'll give you full knowledge of how I got the name, why I chose it when I was setting up my YouTube and my Instagram. And then, of course, over the years, I just run that across TikTok, Pinterest. Well, anyways, all those accounts. So anyways, that's all I have today. And be sure and check your pantry for your peanut butter and for your Ritz peanut butter crackers. That's might say cheese, but there's really peanut butter on the inside. Very serious. So be sure and check that out. And I think that's all I have today for you on this Freaky Friday. And I so appreciate each and every one of you that have stayed with me this long. If you have stayed here this long, maybe put a little puppy dog down in the comments. I'm sure they don't have a Jack Russell, but they probably have some kind of puppy emoji down there. Just put that down there just so that I know that you've been here and heard my whole story of why I am called Miss Jackie Russell. But as for today and the recalls and my story, that's all I have. And as usual, I wish you all a blessed and happy day. Bye-bye.